Well,
First off, I want to just thank our fans, Auburn family, for great crowd being on break. And I will thank everybody for continuing to support Outlive, Auburn basketball's fight against cancer, awareness, detection, and we're going to be keeping the funds at home. We're going to be supporting about 5 hospitals in Alabama and 1 in Tennessee because we're playing Tennessee, and so it was a great event from that standpoint. The program obviously means a lot to me. It's been a long time since we've beaten Tennessee, and I guess the last time that Auburn beat Tennessee, I was coaching that team, and we lost the Battle of the Boards that night too. But that one there we had to have. I thought we defended extremely well. I thought that Tennessee could beat us from 3, but not 2. And whether we challenged their shots at 3 or they just missed a lot of them, I don't know. But that was part of our game plan. And I thought offensively, we did a pretty good job executing to be able to shoot 53%.
Bruce, obviously they get to the glass, off the glass 23 times, but it seemed like you guys were able to reset, scramble, and still kind of keep them from turning it into points.
Well, they had 19 second chance points. We had 5, so they beat us about 14 there. They're a very athletic team. They lead the league in block shots. Some of those rebounds were in the same possession. But we've got to do a better job ourselves of competing on the boards. Those are 2 of the smaller teams in the league. We're not very big, and they aren't either. And so, but they just fly around and played with great effort and energy. And we're going to have to improve in that area.
Can you talk about starting the second half? Bryce came out and got you going.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, obviously, we went in at halftime, and part of it was because Bryce was the only guy that could guard punter, and that's even a stretch, but because he did a great job. But this is what's exciting about Bryce Brown. He is a great shooter, but he also is a great defender. And to be a young player and be able to do those 2 things, he is going to play a lot of basketball here at Auburn and going to put up a lot of numbers. He is now going to get a different scouting report. This is back-to-back games without T.J. Dunnins, where he's obviously been a guy that I've had to go to. And we've gone to him, and he's delivered. He's delivered.
Speaking of your guards, what's the injury situation now?
I mean, the situation now, T.J. Lang, he took a pretty good hit. He's got concussion symptoms. We'll do all the protocol and see where he's at. But we're obviously pretty down in the backcourt as far as numbers are concerned. But other guys stepped up. Pat Kime stepped up in a big way. Brought us great energy, brought us great effort. One thing about Pat is I know he'll defend. And when you got a guy out there defending like he defends, it's contagious. He does for us in that regard what Taj Shamsuddin does. And then offensively, I thought he was a little bit more relaxed and gave Kareem some good spells out there. So.
Bruce, last year's return to Knoxville was really emotional for you, for Steve, for a lot of people in the family. Just what does this one mean?
It was more emotional in Knoxville for sure because, if you've worked anywhere for a certain period of time and you work the kind of hours that we work and you have the kind of emotional highs and lows, it's hard to drive up to the arena. It's hard to go back through the same door that you went through in victory and defeat and I get pretty attached. So, from my standpoint, that was obviously, more difficult. But it's a meaningful game, and it was one that we really had to have.
Is Bryce kind of earning your trust more as the season goes, or is this what you expected when you recruited him?
I would say this is what I expected when I recruited him. There was a delay in him showing me this through the preseason. Mm-hmm. I thought he had a great summer. And then this fall, he had some setbacks and didn't show this. And I wasn't going to give it to him. I was going to make him show me. And he has. And so I'm excited. So, yeah, we saw it recruiting. We saw it in the summer. I didn't see it in the fall. And that's why it's taken him a long time to get his role.
Horus plays more tonight, obviously still fouls out, but is that him, how is the learning process of him playing the fouls coming along?
Horus played 18 minutes for us tonight. I believe the plus-minus chart will have him at about +8, maybe even +10. We are better defensively with him on the floor. Yeah, offensively, there are times when he will turn it over and not be in the right place at the right time, but he is active. I thought, when he wasn't on the floor, we had a hard time rebounding. When he was out there early, all those Tennessee misses were his rebounds, and then when he wasn't out there, they were killing us in the guards. So yeah, Horus is he's making progress, but he and Bryce Brown are both freshman starters in that rotation right now.
To that end, Bruce, can you pinpoint what's going on with Sim? This is obviously just the rough performance of the season, but even the double-doubles, he has not been as effective as we were.
One of the things that I try to do is I expect more from my best players. And I try to take pressure off of the guys that are able to contribute but not dominate. I believe Sim can dominate games. And he has been inconsistent. But when I say that, I say it with great praise and admiration. The fact that he can dominate games. And for us to be able to win, we obviously need him to. I mean, like for example, tonight, Amani Moore is a guy that you can count on every night to dominate the game at 6'4", 6'5". For whatever reason, and I'll have to look at the tape, he didn't have it. Admiral Schofield had it, and he played a more dominant role. So for Tennessee, if they could almost beat us here on the road without Amani Moore doing what he normally does, it's a good sign. If we can win without Simeon Bowers doing what he normally does.
Do you think Hunter is the best offensive player you guys have faced thus far?
He's the best offensive guard we've faced so far for sure. He's a really tough cover. But Bryce Brown did a really good job against him, and he just took advantage of everybody else. Full advantage.
Would you say about Kareem tonight that you're down 3 guards, it still didn't seem like he tried to do too much? He tried to get everybody else involved and tried to make everything flow?
Kareem does a really good job of trying to share the ball. Tennessee trapped the ball out of his hands tonight more than we've seen. I think it's a good strategy because he's a guy that with the ball he can beat you. And I thought we made shots to, kind of make him pay for that a little bit. But I would say that we didn't respond as well as we'll need to the next time. First time that's really happened with consistency. We could take better advantage of that next time we see it. But Kareem does let the game come to him offensively. He is unselfish. And obviously he had a pretty quiet 20 tonight.
Jordan plays the career-high 33, comes up with some pivotal points, blocks. Can you speak to just how he's adjusted to this, Bruce? Because he went from starting every game last season to this role, and he finally has a pretty big outing.
He has a big role on our team right now, and it's at a completely different position than last year. Jordan's playing a guard spot because we're so banged up at the guard spot. And defensively, he's quick enough to be able to defend his position and use his length to guard. Offensively, he doesn't have the same mismatches that he had last year as far as getting shots. Because if you remember, he was a pretty good pick-and-pop foreman. When he's being guarded by smaller players, he doesn't get as many opportunities. But Jordan's focus this week, it's SEC play. As one of my very few returning guys that understood the difference between what we did to become battle-tested and somewhat battle-worn in our non-conference portion, Jordan was different this week in practice. He's like, okay, all right, it's time. It's league play. And I thought his leadership was big. Now, from my standpoint, I'll go back and say we won 4 out of our last 5 SEC games. Can we keep it going? We've won 4 out of our last 5 SEC games. And a team that South Carolina plays Memphis tonight at South Carolina, there's a good chance they'll come out undefeated. And they're a different animal. They're big, strong, and physical. So It's good to get off to a good start tonight.
Everybody good? All right, thank you.